Have you ever seen a branding project just go completely off the rails? Budgets get blown, deadlines are missed, and the final result feels totally wrong? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the one document that can prevent all that chaos: the brand design brief. Think of it as the secret weapon for making sure your brand succeeds right from the start. So, what you're looking at here, this number, it's not just a random figure. This is the turnover that a company called Agon Systems hit just 3 years after they invested in their brand. It's just incredible proof that getting your brand right isn't just about looking pretty. It's about driving serious, measurable growth. And yeah, the benefits are huge. A strong brand lets you attract the customers you actually want, not just anyone. It helps you keep them around for the long haul, lets you charge what you're really worth, and, most importantly, helps you stand out in a ridiculously crowded market. I mean, these are the things every single business is aiming for, right? But that brings up a really good question. If the upside is so massive, why do so many rebrands just miss the mark? They go over budget, they cause headaches, or they just plain fail to deliver. It's a super common problem. And the reason, way more often than not, comes down to one crucial piece that was missing right at the beginning. And that's where this comes in. The solution, the thing that stops the failure before it starts, is your blueprint for success, the brand design brief. And listen, this is not just another piece of corporate paperwork. This is the actual foundation for your entire project. So what is it exactly? Well, a brand design brief is basically a document that gets everybody on the same page. It spells out your goals, what's in and what's out for the project, who you're trying to talk to, and, crucially, how you'll know if you've actually won. It's all about total alignment from day one. Honestly, the best way to think about it is as a blueprint. I mean, you would never, ever build a house without a detailed architectural plan, would you? Of course not. So why on earth would you try to build the entire future of your brand on just guesswork? So how do we actually create this blueprint? Well, the very first section is all about looking inward. It's about getting a really honest understanding of your business as it exists right here, right now. We have to start with the fundamentals. Who are you and what do you actually do? Now, it sounds almost too simple, but nailing this down with clarity is absolutely critical. A fantastic little framework to use is this sentence: we do X for Y. It forces you to be incredibly specific about what you offer and who you're offering it to. And this slide, this really gets to the heart of the challenge. It makes you be brutally honest. How do people see you today? And then how do you want to be seen tomorrow? See that gap in the middle? That's what this whole branding project is designed to fix. Okay, next up, personality. If your company were a person, who would it be? What would it feel like to hang out with them? This isn't just some fluffy, fun exercise. It's about defining the exact feeling and image you want to project to every single customer. And to figure this out, just ask yourself some questions. Are you friendly and approachable, or are you more formal and super efficient? Do you feel like a huge established company or a small, scrappy startup? Answering these helps you find that unique mix of traits that makes you, you. Of course, you don't exist in a vacuum. You have to take a hard look at your competitors. For example, you might analyze your market and find that, say, ABC Consultants is well known and has great knowledge, but their customer service is terrible. Well, guess what? That weakness right there, that's your opportunity. That's the open space in the market where your brand can thrive. Okay, so once you've got a crystal clear picture of who you are today, it's time to figure out where you're headed. And that means defining your project objectives. This is the big one. Why are you even doing this? A branding project can't just be about getting a new logo because you're bored of the old one. No way. It has to be directly connected to your bigger business goals. What specific result are you trying to get? For instance, maybe this rebrand is the key piece of the puzzle to hit your 3-year growth targets. Or perhaps you need to attract a totally different kind of customer. It could be about launching a new product, or maybe even making things run smoother internally. Tying the project to these real goals gives it a powerful purpose. Now let's talk about the single most important person in this entire process, your customer. Who is your perfect customer? I'm telling you, you cannot design a successful brand if you don't know exactly who you're designing it for. And I mean, you have to be really specific here. Vague descriptions just won't work. The more detail you can give about their age, their background, what keeps them up at night, the better. You're basically creating a character profile of the one person you most want to connect with. All right, let's get practical for a second. Where is this new brand actually going to live and breathe? It is so important to think through all the different places it'll show up, because a design that looks amazing on a website might completely fall apart on a company van or a polo shirt. Think about the extremes, right? Is it going to be on a massive billboard or on something super tiny, like a pen? Do you have to replace all your old stuff at once, or will the new brand have to live alongside the old look for a little while? These kinds of constraints are absolutely vital for any design team to know about. Okay, you've done the hard work, you've answered the tough questions. Now it's time to move from just having a document to taking real action and putting that brief to work. And here's the good news. The next steps are refreshingly simple. First, find yourself a good brand brief template. You can find tons of them online. Second, fill it out. Be thorough. And finally, share it with the creative agency or the designers you're thinking about working with. And that last step, it's a total game changer. When an agency gets a clear, well-thought-out brief, they immediately get you. They understand your vision. It lets you have a much more meaningful conversation from the start and helps them give you a realistic budget. It just takes all the guesswork out of it for everyone. So that's the process. It's a strategic deep dive that forces you to be clear and sets your project up for a win. Your brand's future is waiting to be built, and the only question left to ask is your blueprint ready?